Good morning, Rainmakers. Happy Tuesday to you. I am feeling super fly today because my kids have finally gone back to school. Like my husband and I, we don't know what to do with ourselves. It's so quiet and we have the house to ourselves. So today is definitely a day to celebrate. I hope you all are doing well. We are diving into one of my favorite topics today, friends. This is something that the minute that I start working with someone, or even if I'm just doing a strategy call with someone, this is where I go. This is where I dive, because this is where most business owners miss things. And what I'm talking about today is really the beauty of a book of business. And I wanted to start today with a story of how I discovered the beauty of a book of business, and really to show you what a book of business is and what it is not. So for those friends that don't know, I started my financial service career 20 years ago at Merrill Lynch. And at that time at Merrill Lynch, they had, I'm sure even now, they had these crazy requirements. So I literally just passed my 7 and I had no clue what I was doing. Like, just because I have my 7, just because you have your license doesn't mean you really, you're an expert. And so I had my 7 and it was time to start getting clients, because with Merrill, they expected me to bring in $1 million of assets for 24 months straight. And, here I am, like, who is going to give me $1 million in assets when I don't know anything? So what Merrill did is they handed me a white pages. Yes, a white pages to dial for dollars. And I did. And you know what? I sucked. It was awful. It was the worst feeling in the world. Like I felt so uncomfortable. It was the coldest of cold calls. Like, I am not a big fan of cold calls. And so I quickly left Merrill Lynch because I saw it wasn't going anywhere. And I started working at a bank program. And it was at this bank program that I discovered the value of a book of business, because not only was I given a book of clients, but essentially all the customers of the bank were also part of my book of business. And that was the company that I started really producing. And I had one of the best years I had in my career, my first few years. And it was really because of the book of business that I got, and because I started to work that book of business. So today we're going to talk about how to work your book of business. Particularly, we're going to jump in and just do segmenting. I can teach you how to work a book of business like in a whole day. 8 hours we can spend on properly working a book of business. But today we're just going to talk about, kind of the macro of a book of business. So a book of business is not just your customers. I want you to think of a book of business. I like to break it up into 3. So you have your core book. So think of yourself standing in the middle, and then the first circle around you is your core book. The second circle around you, so there's another circle, is your inner book. And then the final circle around you is your outer book. And so here's how this works. I want you guys to imagine that this right here is your entire book of business, all of it. And each one of these little magnets signifies that there is a pain point, a common pain point in your book of business. And so in order to really optimize and really drive your efficiency and stay connected with your prospects and your customers, because it's not just about building that book of business, it's about nurturing it and staying connected with them, because not all of your customers are going to be ready to buy today. I had prospects that I called for 3, 4, 5 years. And the only reason I got the business is because I stayed on top of it. And I had systems and processes in place to remind me that, oh, I need to follow up with this customer again. So what is segmenting a book of business? Segmenting a book of business is essentially pulling it apart and putting it back together in a way that really drives results. All right. So when it comes to your core book, think of that as all of your VIP customers. So my financial advisor friends, these are your customers. Maybe your core book is your highest net worth customer, maybe the ones that have the most amount with you. Or maybe it's your customers that give you the most referrals, or maybe it's just friends and family that are customers. Really, this is your VIP. This is your core book. These are the people that already love you. And so this is how you can start segmenting your book. I want you to start thinking of it in threes. Now, if you're a newer business owner, all you need to do is start by thinking of your book of business that you're going to be building into 3 different segments. So let's just envision here, we got nine different pain points. Just imagine that within your book of business, there's 9 different pain points. So this is your core. And within your core of business, there's probably about 3 different pain points, depending on their age, their need. Remember, we talked about discovering the pain and understanding who your target market is. That's where this is really going to help you in segmenting your book of business. So this is your core book. Then next, we have your inner book. And your inner book are the remainder of your customers, or anybody that you have ever done business with. So anyone that gives you even $1 in revenue on an annual basis. So for my insurance line friends, this would be anyone who even has 1 line with you, even if you haven't talked to them forever. You have their information. At one point they bought from you. This would be your inner book. Now, in your inner book, there's also a few different pain points, again, depending on their age. So for my financial advisor friends, this could be if you are wanting to right now perhaps start looking to market index universal life insurance policies. Well, the ideal for that, your client base, you're really looking at between 25 to maybe 55 years old. So that would be a segment within your inner book. Now, let's say you also want to market for annuities. Okay, so that would be anyone who, let's say, is 60 or 65 and older. That would be the segment right here. They have a different pain point. Each of these represents a different pain point. And so that is your inner book. But you also have your outer book. The magnets just came together and freaked me out a little bit. Your outer book, this is anyone you know. This is your circle of influence. Maybe they've never done business with you, but you're in a Facebook group. Maybe this is friends and family or your neighbors, or any group that you're really part of, anyone whose information you have. It's also your past customers, okay? And within there are 3 different segments. So in order to really optimize your book of business, you have to start thinking of it in segments. And so what you need to do to get started is just simply decide who is in your core book, who is in your inner book, and who is in your outer book, and identify within each of those 3 different segments. So I call this the 3x3. You're going to start by dividing it into 3. Again, your core book, your VIP customers, your inner book, maybe that's the rest of your client base, and then your outer book. If you work at a branch, this would be the bank CD customers. It would be really any of the customers of the bank would be part of your outer book. And then within that, break it out even further. And the reason we want to do this is because I am going to teach you next week how to create specific campaigns to work every single one of those segments. So we are going to find a way, each of these segments, we just identified 9. So 3 and then 3 within those 3. Each of those, I'm going to show you how to nurture and how to really stay connected with your prospects, with your customers by segmenting your book of business and creating sales campaigns that are specifically targeted to that pain point. And the reason why this is so important is because I see this all the time, friends. The reason I had the success I had is because I learned how to segment and mine my book of business. There were times, my last opportunity that I worked at, so the last time I was a producer, I worked at a credit union. Prior to me taking that position, there were 2 gentlemen who were financial advisors there and had 0 luck in the territory. 0, friends, like 0. They didn't do any numbers at all. And their reasoning was it was too high net worth of a market. And so the clients already had 4 or 5 advisors. No, that was not the problem. The problem is they didn't work the book. And in the past, if you worked in a bank or you were an insurance agent and you had clients coming in all the time, you could rely on that foot traffic. Foot traffic is dead. So the only way to grow and nourish your book of business is by really learning how to optimize it. And the foundation of that is segmenting your book of business. If you guys have any questions on today, if you need any assistance, definitely drop it in the comments. Next week, when I come back for our next training, next Tuesday, I will be diving deeper and teaching you how to create a successful sales campaign for every single one of those segments. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you soon.